I mean, check this. This is pretty trick. The ethos will actually tell you right here. You know, the last vehicle, I say no, go back, say no. Previous vehicle database. It remembers a lot of other vehicles. Here we go, 95. I had my Silverado on here. Let's see, 98 Pontiac Firebird. And it remembers all this. It remembers up to 25 previous vehicles. And when it loads the database for OD2, it is plugged in. And you do need the key turned on, key on, engine off. And it'll actually tell you which cables you need to hook up, whether it be OBD2 or OBD1 or domestic or foreign. There we go, 5.7. Just loading the vehicle. There we go, 93L cable. As you can see right here, got the 93L cable hooked up right there. And then we click yes. Now, we can do data display, codes menu, which would be, if you have your check engine light on, your little idiot light or MIL, malfunction indicator light. And then we also have generic functions and codes menu, but I already said codes menu, I don't know why I said that twice, but anyway. This is what most people are used to. A lot of people like to just delete codes or previous codes or even history codes. Due to the fact that they think that, when something pops up like that, that they're just gonna, erase it and the problem goes away. That doesn't happen. Display codes, you can, with the ethos, rather than just a regular, complete generic, like your Kragen scan tool, which is really just a code reader. These ones can do failed ignition. That's anything that, this car has the 95 has the Opti Spark, which is a real pain in the ass. But given that LS1 is, coil and plug, it's much easier for this failed ignition. When your last test failed, when your car does drive cycles, it can actually detect different cycles of when it failed. How, if you had your gas cap off, it would have like an evap fail. If you were in the rain and, one of your wires has a small little hole, it's corroded, it would detect that. It's so cool nowadays that we can just do stuff like this and plug it in and it can tell you what happened, basically. It's not going to say, water got on this, but it'll say failed, this state or whatever, and you can go and find that wire and be like, oh, okay. Freeze frame failure record is real cool. You can look at the car when it's running and actually see what's going on in real time. Now, this right here is showing my O2s. I have Corvette O2s on this car and I don't have caps. That's the reason why this is reading this funny. But let's collect some data and watch it in real time, and you can actually see, mileage since first failure, 310. Engine load percent is 3% when I'm in park. Coolant temperature, everything's in real time. You can watch it change. 190, give a little bit of gas, you can see my fuel trims, how those are doing. Give a little bit of gas. LT1 for bank 1, bank 2. These LS motors have a real trick way of changing their fuel trim, which is really cool. Map sensor, you can figure out 18, and stoichiometric at sea level is 14.7 to 1, so that's about right. You got engine RPM, vehicle speed, everything is on here, and it's all in real time. And you can do freeze frame data. You can freeze it at a certain point, when you're at a certain load, RPM, maybe you can figure out when your car hesitates. You might be at 3,200 RPM in second gear, and your car just kind of falls on its face. Well, you can go through this and see what's going on, and if you can do this enough, you'll know you can catch a number that looks out of place, depending on what RPM, what gear and load, map sensor, baro sensor, especially O2s. O2s are, if your O2s are working correctly, you can find out something wrong real quick by just watching those in real time. Let's see. there's so much on here. I wish I could just, you know, have a simple video to show you guys everything. Oops. But, you know, I don't really have enough time for that right now. But if you guys have any questions on this, or you want to see me do something with it, I will. Unfortunately, it's just myself today. Otherwise, I would be able to take this car for a drive and have it videotaped at the same time, so you guys can see that real-time data screen, and it's real cool. And actually, I might do that tomorrow, considering the fact that my car is running a little bit rough, and I think one of my O2s is, my right bank is actually saying that it's running lean, so I got to figure that out. I don't want to be having detonation occurring. So, but anyway, this is the Ethos. Like I said, it's real simple. If you understand the concepts of sensors and how they're integrated with each other and how they work with each other, and actually how your computer works in your car and how it reads PIDs, if you can get that down and you start playing around with one of these, it's all easy. I mean, this thing is just plug and play. It tells you what to plug in. If you go to the oscilloscope to look at ignition timing and stuff like that, you can change the ignition timing as you're reading it on here with it plugged in. I mean, you can get it down to having the fact that you might have a plug that, you know, is gapped too far. So, like I said, don't be scared of these things. If you ever get a chance to be around one, play around with it. You really can't screw much up unless you're actually changing PIDs in it, which in any case, you know, take your negative battery cable off, then take your positive battery cable off, touch the positive battery cable that's disconnected from the battery, and just touch it to ground, and that will reset the computer on most vehicles. But just make sure that you know what you're doing if you are changing PIDs, because if you save something on a computer, it potentially will stay there.